Welcome to the project profile tutorial for Savium ERM Web. In this video, we'll be talking about the project profile screen, and in order to demonstrate, we'll be creating a project for the company. So to navigate your way through this, we'll first go to the Resource/Project tab, and from there, you go to the Project Profile tab. Now as I enter, you'll be able to see all my different projects within each of the different project types. Now to demonstrate, I'm going to be creating a new project. So I'm going to add, and automatically you'll see a project detail screen appears. So the project detail screen is there to record and manage all relevant project related information for resource planning and scheduling. So for example, this will record things like your project details, your booking list, and milestones as well. The project profile isn't specifically related to set up project related work, but can also be used to set up non-project related activities as well. So for example, training, administration work, or business as usual activities too. So now that we've entered the screen, I'll be explaining to you each of the critical fields in each of these sections for when you want to set up data or just simply play around with the software. We'll first look at the project type field within the basics section. So this can represent the different types of projects the organization runs. So for example, in the drop-down you can see there's external projects, internal projects, and then maybe client-related projects, so maybe in this case they're mobile app development or infrastructure setup type of projects. Or then you can also have non-project related activities as well, so things like admin or business as usual activities, training, and also record vacation or leave. The project type is coded by a predetermined color, which has direct implications in the schedule where the bookings are coded accordingly. So for example, let me select external projects. You can see that the purple color appears, so that whenever I make bookings, external projects will be coded in purple. Project type also has other implications. So for example, for larger projects, this field determines the task template, which we will define below. This helps in pre-populating the task list in the project profile screen when a project type is selected. You can then determine the name of the project, so in this case I'll call it Project A, and then you can determine whether it's approved or not approved. So this is only really relevant for companies which contain an internal approval process. So if this is not necessary, it can be made invisible within the screen. Moving forward, if the project is selected as active, then the project is considered to be running. If selected as closed, the project is not considered to be running and will not appear within the project screen. We can then determine the client that we're conducting the project for, so you can search over here. There might be a pre-made list, so in this case, I can select Z client. If the project is conducted for internal purposes, then this field can be left empty. Savium also uses a unique code for identifying a project. This field is important when you interface it with another system. If it finds a code in Savium, then it simply just updates the project. If not found, it inserts a fresh new record into the software. If you have created the project and are using it internally, then it's optional whether you would like to have a code or not. You can then determine the start and end date of the project. So in this case, it will start on maybe in, let's say, 2 months' time. So you can say May 22nd, and it can finish on, let's say, a bit later on in September 18th. And that accordingly determines the duration of the project. Furthermore, you can also see the budgeted time that it will take, so you can put in the number of hours for that and the budgeted amount as well. The next section defines the project details. Various fields within this section can be made either visible, invisible, or renamed according to your organizational structure. So in this section you can determine the department that this project is being conducted under, so let's say in this case the engineering, which team it's been done for, so in this case let's say it's the infrastructure and service maintenance, and the location of it. So if you have multiple locations, in this case I'll select Australia, Sydney. You can then select who the project manager is, so in this case it's John Smith. The priority of the project, so I can select in my drop down that the priority of it is, let's say, medium. You can set the probability and signify whether the project is considered likely, unlikely, or certain to go through. This field is more useful for taking care of resources that are booked under a tentative project, which is in the future pipeline. So in this case, let's say it is likely. You can track the progress of a project. I'll also determine whether it's billable or non-billable. So billable if the project is conducted for a client, and non-billable if the project is conducted for internal purposes or may be conducted free of cost for a client. Moving further down, Savium allows you to break your project down according to individual tasks if dealing with a specifically large project, which in usual cases is for a project that goes on for more than 3 months. Now each task has its set start and end date, and they have the budgeted and booked hours set onto them as well. Now, as per the project type, you can overall define your task template. So over here, external project has its task template as task 1 and task 2. Let's say I change it to, let's say, internal projects. Accordingly, the template changes to phase 1 and phase 2. This section can also be renamed to milestones, phases, stages, or any name relevant to the organization. Now this completes the tutorial of how to populate your project detail. I hope this has helped. Thank you.